Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very quick episode of Set Lusting Bruce. I am your host, Jesse Jackson. Returning guest, Mark Hornak. We are about to record one of my John Hyatt episodes that we're having, but as we're recording this, it is July 13th, and the sky has cleared and we have sunshine. There are U.S. Bruce dates. How you feeling, Mark?
Well, I'm excited. In fact, I spent a good part of my work day yesterday when the shows were actually announced, and I've seen other people do this, so I'm not completely embarrassed to say it. But I printed out some PDF calendar pages, and I wrote out the tour, and then I put all of my son's high school basketball games on there.
Yes.
And then I started working backwards to see where I could go.
So I talked to Flynn McLean, from None But the Brave podcast, and I said, you could sit there and look at the tour dates and try to figure out, okay, what geographical area and what dates can I get the most bang for my buck, right? So, I don't know if you, there are people who routinely try to make every Major League Baseball park within one season, and you have to just figure out this because there's home games and away games and, trying to figure out. So I am hoping if the Ticketmaster spirits are with me, he is playing Houston, Austin, and Dallas, plus Tulsa. And that's all within like 3-4 weeks of each other. And so my hope, all four of those are very much in driving distance, that I'm going to see all four. I got buy-in from the family. February 10th is my son's birthday, and he is in Dallas on February 10th. So Chris is like, absolutely, what a better way to celebrate my birthday. So we'll all three go to that one. They will let me go to Austin and Houston by myself to save money. And then we'll all go up to Tulsa, because for my birthday, we went up there to see the Woody Guthrie Museum and the Bob Dylan Museum, and we had a great time. And we ran out of time and didn't get to spend a lot of time at the Woody Guthrie Museum. And so Chris is, hey, we can go back, we can see Bruce, we can finish the Guthrie Museum and the Black Wall Street. There is a museum dedicated to the Tulsa riots, and Chris said he would be interested in attending that. So we're going to make it a little family vacation for Tulsa. So how about you? What are you thinking with basketball and everything else?
So we have a weird set of Midwest dates, with there not being anything in Chicago, which would be the easiest thing for me. So St. Paul and Minneapolis and Cleveland and those kind of things are obviously tempting, and some version of that will be on my schedule. What I'm really hoping to do, similar to what you just described, though, is the opening show in Tampa is actually on my 50th birthday.
Oh, nice.
So if anybody's hearing this in the Bruce world, feel free to take my information down and send me some pit tickets.
Yes, absolutely. It is a little weird. No Chicago. I saw on Twitter there are no California dates, and I'm used to it. In fact, I had made a joke. One of my best friends said, well, why wouldn't he do all three, Houston, Austin, and Dallas? I said, he never does all three.
One of them is routinely shortchanged.
Yeah. And so, he had not been in Austin for years. And so it's like, because I remember I can't remember which, but like Magic, it was Dallas and no Houston, and maybe Working on the Dream was Houston, no Dallas. So to get all three, yes, Charlie, I'm kind of excited. So, but it is kind of weird, the dates that they're not going to. And I don't know who figures that out. I don't know what they do. And I do know there'll be a second leg, but they say that's going to be more stadiums, is the rumor.
So as far as Chicago, the exact same thing happened in 2012, which
Okay.
you would think if a big city is going to get a show, Chicago
Yeah.
is near the top of the list.
Yeah.
And what had happened there was they held that show back because they planned to play 2 stadium shows at Wrigley Field when they came back. I think most people are assuming that something similar is going to happen. From a selfish standpoint, I think they could have done both, but
Yes.
they don't let me pick.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm excited. And it's going to be expensive. I think we should just accept that fact. Friend of the podcast, and now of course I'm drawing a blank on his name, and so, but one of my buddies from Houston talked about it. He says, look, I just paid $150 a seat for the touring version of Frozen, right? He said, not the Broadway, I mean, just the touring version. He said, things are just expensive. So we're going to have to accept the fact that seats will be, and I did, because I'm a nerd, tickets were about $160, $170 the last time he toured. If you throw it in the inflation calendar, it's up to $200 just doing the inflation calculation. So it's going to be expensive.
Well, and the other part of it is his tickets have been a little less expensive than similar artists for years and years and years.
Yes.
And, I think we all have to make choices at times. And, there's artists that have come through that I would have liked to get really good seats for. If it's, the Who are coming through, or, Elton John has been playing, or, his last tour for 2 or 3 years now. If you look at some of the prices of those tickets up front, I still think we'll probably be getting a bargain. And I hope I feel that way a week from now.
Yes, absolutely. It is going to be exciting. You do realize that, supply is going to, demand out supply. It's just the way it is. Especially, it's been so long since he's toured, and I feel like the fan base is growing. I mean, the amount of people that have been on my podcast that are in their teens and 20s that have said, I've never seen Bruce perform live. I've never had the opportunity. I had a couple of people write that Broadway was their first chance to see him this second time. So there are not all of us oldies have, got out of our concert, range yet. And our boots are still on, to quote Western Stars, and so we're going to want to go. Plus, there's a whole new range of a new generation that want to go see the E Street Band.
Absolutely. And I'm actually of the belief that if you want to go to a show, you're going to be able to go. If you look at the ticketing world today and you follow what's happening with some of the similar acts that I just talked about,
yeah,
mostly because of the price, there are tickets going to be available months from now. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a matter of making a decision as to, is one show all you can do? Are you going to, spend a lot of money and try to hit 2, 3, 4 or more? I think the simple fact is that people that would have hit a lot of shows will probably hit a few less. And people that would have paid maybe for a certain seat will maybe have a little bit less of a seat. And it's definitely a new time about in the ticket world when it comes to Bruce, because this is not something we've dealt with before.
No, never. It's been crazy.
As far as your description though of what you're going to, have you hit back-to-back shows like that before?
So I've done. I know. I'm trying to think. I know I did the free show for the NCAA tournament. And then like 2 weeks later, I drove to Nashville. And then like a week or two later, I did Houston. Right. So, but I've never done like within the span of 3 days, because like
they do all line up in a row. Is that correct?
Yes, they do. Now, Tulsa is like a few weeks later.
You're going to need a break.
Yes. Yeah. And what's funny is my boss is offering, we have a bonus going on that if certain agents hit certain targets, they can make $400, right? And my boss was saying, $400 is a lot of money. And I'm like, yes, give me a chance, because, I have tickets. Yeah. Dallas is the 10th. Houston is Tuesday the 14th. And then Austin is Thursday the 16th.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So should be a lot of fun. Yeah. I will have to, Linda will have to forgive me that Valentine's Day I will be spending it with Bruce versus with her. But she has already given blessing that we've been waiting this. It's been a long time coming, to quote another song.
Well, maybe you'll get a lot of Tunnel of Love songs.
There we go. Yes. That is great. All right. Before we switch over, we're going to talk to John Hyatt in a few minutes. Recently, I have been trying to send videos to kind of promote the podcast. So historically, I used to record episodes just via Skype, and I just do audio, but I'm now trying to get a few people that say, yeah, show my handsome face. And Mark was nice enough. So you have answered the Mary question before, but you haven't done it on video. So if you are watching this and you aren't sure what the Mary question is, Jay Armstrong, honors English teacher from the Philadelphia area who recently retired, would teach Thunder Road as a poem. He would cover all the lyrics. He would talk about the themes. And at the end of the 2 days, he would ask his class, does Mary get in the car? So Mark, your question is, does Mary get in the car at the end of Thunder Road?
So is he retired now?
Yes, he is.
Okay, because since I've been listening for a couple of years now, many times I've thought to myself, I would really like to sit in on one of those classes that day, because one of the cool things about, if you put some thought into the question, is you think about it a lot deeper than maybe you would just answering off the cuff. And there's so much in there, and I'm sure hearing a bunch of different opinions probably would be great. But I'll give you my answer, and then I'll give you all the reasons. Mary absolutely gets in the car. There's no doubt in my mind. I love the question for the reasons that I said before. I love the fact that, we're discussing it and really digging into it. At the same time, I don't care for it at all, because I have this whole idea for, if anybody tries to convince me that she doesn't, it ruins the whole thing for me. I think I told you once before, I went to this movie discussion group one time, and they were talking about the Shawshank Redemption. And at the end of the movie, he meets Red there at the beach.
Yeah.
But the actual lines in the movie are, I hope the ocean's as blue as he says, I hope my friend is there, those kind of things. But in the movie, you see it happen. The guy that was leading the discussion tried to make the point that this is all in Red's imagination. And he really was just hoping to see Andy and hoping all that was going to be as true as he wanted. And I remember leaving there that night. I'm like, how dare that guy ruin what I like so much? But it did make me think. I don't think he's right, but we all have opinions, and it certainly made me think about it when I see it now in a whole different way. So, but either way, Mary absolutely gets in the car. I'll give you a couple thoughts and reasons why. I think the biggest thing here is, I think a lot of the answers are in the words, but I think much more the answers show up a little bit in some of the performances over the years. But 100%, I think the music gives us a lot of clues all at the same time. So, one point I've heard a lot of people make as far as the lyrics is the idea, he says, how does it go exactly? Oh, I'm pulling out of here to win. And then later on, I don't think it was 1970 yet, but I think by the 1980 shows, he starts saying, we're pulling out of here to win. And I don't think that's accidental. I think he's saying it that way for a purpose. We're pulling out of here to win. And, the other part of it is, and I think that happened all the way up through Broadway. I actually went back and listened to some shows just to see if I could catch some times where it happened differently. The only time I heard him say it with the original lyric that says, I'm pulling out of here, is, I believe, on the Storytellers DVD, the one that was on VH1. And the only thing I can come up with there is, I think he was reading that right off the lyric sheet, because he was using the lyric sheet to kind of discuss the song. But the idea that he says right through Broadway, we're pulling out of here to win, gives you the impression that Bruce wants this person and believes this and wrote it in a way that this person is going with him. The next thing I would talk about, I said, I think there's in the performances as well. There's acoustic performances that are maybe a little bit different, but for the most part, the band performances of Thunder Road are nothing short of just a celebration. That No Nukes video, if you put that on, Bruce is on top of the piano at the end of the song. He's got that huge smile on his face. There is a celebration going on. There is nothing about it that makes you think he didn't succeed in his quest. You get to the Born in the USA tour, the same thing, and you actually had Bruce and Clarence kissing at the end of the song. It doesn't appear in any way that this is a kiss goodbye. It's a celebration. This is something they're excited about. And the one other thing by that point too, he just assumes that she's going to come with him because, and I don't know if this started on the river, if it started on Board in the USA, but on a lot of shows you can hear him actually yell into the microphone, "What are you waiting for? Climb in." He changes the lyric there, and just the assumption is, why would you not come? It's so obvious for you to come along. What are you waiting for? Climb in. There's excitement. There's not doubt. He's not even considering the idea that they wouldn't leave together. The last point I'll make, and I said I think it's really important that the music matters. Remember, this is young Bruce Springsteen still. He cares and is putting probably way more thought than any of us ever have about exactly what is happening here. When you go back to he inducted Bob Dylan into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And there's that single drum hit at the beginning of the song. And what does he call it? Something like a snare shot that kind of opens your mind. And that's not an exact quote, but that's how I found it here. I had it written down. It says, "A snare shot that kicked open the door to your mind." This is someone that was listening to music and writing music where even just a single hit of the drum mattered that most. So when you get to the end of Thunder Road, and I think this is important, right after he sings the line, he asked Mary to climb in. If you listen closely, on the record, you hear Roy play a series of piano lines or notes that sounds like someone running or sprinting or just basically jogging down some stairs. And if you listen to it in some of the live recordings, there are times if your bootleg is not good that it gets muffled in the mix a little bit. But if you pull up like the Roxy 78 show, it's very pronounced. And once you start thinking of it that way, you can't hear it any other way. And they continue to play it like that all the time, even on the like a slow version, like on the live box set. Those notes are still there. They're a little slower, and they're more pronounced, but they're there right at the same point. And then if you go all the way to the MTV The Unplugged show or the Plug show, it's a different version of Thunder Road. Well, Roy still plays them, I guess on it maybe like a keyboard. They're slower, they're more pronounced. Maybe it's an older and wiser woman that's being wooed by Bruce at this point. But in every single version, those notes are there. And in my mind, I can't unhear the idea that is that girl running down the stairs to take off. So as a result, there's no question that Mary gets in the car.
I love it. That is a great answer. I appreciate it. Wonderful. Thank you for doing the homework. In case someone wants to reach you, what's the best way?
So I'm not super active on any social media other than Twitter. And you can find me just at my name. So at Mark Hornok, at MarkHornok. And I would be happy to talk about Bruce or anything else.
Sounds great. All right. Thank you, listeners. You tell me if you think Mary gets in the car. Would love to hear. And we will certainly talk to you soon. And oh, by the way, check out soon. Mark and I are talking John Hyatt. For you, it will be later, but for us, it's going to be right in a few minutes. Bye, everyone. Hello, everyone. I am Jesse Jackson, and I hope you enjoyed this small clip from one of my Set Listing Bruce episodes. I'm always looking for feedback and, more importantly, guests. If you want to share your Springsteen fandom story and answer the Mary question, post below on the comments or send me an email to setlistingbruce@gmail.com. If you're passionate about other musicians or topics, I'm always up to record a B-side episode where we get off the Bruce train and dive into other topics. For now, stay hard, stay hungry, stay alive. Meet me in a dream of this hard land, and I'll see you further on up the road.